Sometimes we just need clarity, and sometimes we just need to step back and say, what caused that? Where's that thinking? Where's that thought process coming from? And when we can do that, it makes such a huge difference in our lives, because now we're not just going through the motions. We are actually thinking and deciding what it is that we need to do in our lives. So we have to keep that in mind. Everybody can do better than they're doing today. Everybody can. And it doesn't have to be just in monetary means. You can do better at being a better person. You can build better relationships. You can have better health. There's something that every person can do better than what they're currently doing. It's a matter of making a decision and taking a step forward, and then taking another step forward. It doesn't have to be a huge leap, but when you take a step every single day, moving towards the life that you want and the thinking that you want that will serve you well, by the end of the week, look how far you've gone. By the end of the month, look how far you've gone. By the end of the quarter, by the end of the year, you need a telescope to look back and see how far you've come. And sometimes we don't see that in ourselves because we're with us all the time. And when you're with yourself all the time, you don't see that those little tiny steps add up every day, and they make a massive change in your life. And so we have to just be aware and be willing and make a decision to do something different. We have to start to think, do we have a good reason for our thinking? Where did the thinking come from? You see, a lot of those thought patterns are buried in our habits, and they're buried in thought patterns that were maybe generations back in our life. And we still have those predominant thoughts. Why? Because we grew up with them. We don't know any different. When I did trainings, corporate trainings, I tried to relate this to people. A child who grows up in a household where people are yelling all the time and putting them down and being very negative knows no different. They don't know there can be a difference. Just the same as a child that's brought up in a very loving and caring family doesn't know any difference. That's all they know. And I remember reading a story one time in a book about this guy who came from a very political family. I think his father was an attorney, probably involved in some politics. And so at the dinner table, they would talk politics all the time. And that would be a constant topic. And one time when he got old enough, that friends invited him over to their house, and he, was spending time in another family's dinner, and that was not a topic at all. And he thought it was a really strange thing. And that's the first time he was aware that not everybody's like him, and not everybody just talks politics. But you see, if that's all somebody knows, that's all they think there is. And so we grow up in these like little bubbles of what we've been brought up to think. And sometimes that thinking is really good for us, and other times it is not. And we have to become, because we've been gifted with this idea of thought and being able to think and control our thoughts, when we get to be an adult, we need to decide and control our thoughts, and we get to choose and decide if that's going to be what we want or not. So we really have to start thinking about what it is that we want and discipline our mind. The only way to discipline your mind is to study this information. And that's why so few people are really super successful in life, because so few people take the time to study this. They just go through life wandering on a path that maybe they don't even want to be on. But you don't have to do that. You have a choice. And you can make your life to be whatever it is that you want.